tomorrow night, we'll have Roman Harper joining us on our show at the Life Resources Bottom Line Sports Hour at about 7 o'clock tomorrow night. And that's because Roman is going into the Saints Hall of Fame later this year, which I've been blessed to run for over 3 decades now and serve as chairman of the Media Selection Committee. And, of course, the other individual that will be going in, well, I guess he eased in. He barely got in, right? No, just kidding. He was a unanimous selection. And why not? One of the most accomplished players in New Orleans Saints franchise history. When you're talking about a guy that went to 6 Pro Bowls, 4-time first-team All-Pro, was part of the best guard tandem in the league for at least 3 years, and, of course, was part of a team that went to an NFC Championship game, another that won Super Bowl 44. Just a brilliant player and a good guy. Congratulations to Jahri Evans, who joins us now. Jahri, first and foremost, hey, listen, thanks for joining us. I'm sure you're still smiling, right?
Yeah. Thanks, Ken. It's a awesome honor to be in Saints Hall of Fame. I went into my University Hall of Fame, Bloomsburg, a few years ago. I think last year or the year before. So going into the Saints Hall of Fame is awesome, and just ecstatic.
Well, you're a intelligent guy. I know that. I know a lot of people don't know the story. You went to Bloomsburg. Nobody knows Bloomsburg for football. There was one other guy that made it from that school into the league. But you didn't even go there on an athletic scholarship. You got there on academics because of your intelligence. And somehow you turned that around and turned it into football and made it a tremendous run for yourself professionally. And what a great story it is.
Yeah, I didn't play organized football until 9th grade, JV in high school. And then I got hurt going into my senior year, the summer before my senior year, playing basketball. And so a lot of my D1 recruits backed out and wanted me to walk on and didn't offer me, any scholarship money. Some schools did. I had a few, but Bloomsburg was coming off a national championship, and I went up to the campus and talked to the coaches and saw them, and I was able to get a Board of Governors scholarship and matched that with a little bit of football money that they gave me, and I had my full funding to go to school.
And you were a tackle. You didn't really become a guard until you got to New Orleans, to the Saints. Talk about how difficult the transition that is for the general public. Mm-hmm. It's a vast difference moving outside, inside, isn't it?
It is. At Bloom, I played tackle. Well, my redshirt freshman year, I played left and right tackle. I rotated with the older guys, and then I played some guard. But then my last 3 years at Bloom, I played right tackle and last 2 at left tackle. So getting to the NFL and playing guard, it was definitely different. I had a couple All-Star games where I played against a couple D1 guys, and so the speed is the most difficult thing, right, from the edge and the inside. But my size, I was able to make that transition, and Carl actually made that transition too from tackle to guard. And I think that there are a lot of guys that when they get to the pro level, they are able to go from tackle to guard, and then the more athletic guys stay out there at tackle.
You're selling yourself short. Jahri Evans with us to be inducted into the Saints Hall of Fame later this year. Jahri, you get drafted by the Saints in the 4th round, and some would say, boy, that's a challenge. They didn't value you enough. The fact of the matter is, some people had you projected as a 6th-round pick, a 7th-round pick. I remember it very well.
Yeah.
And you get picked in the 4th round, and, of course, the immediate reaction from people observing is, who's this guy? And you were determined to prove just who this guy was, and it didn't take you long to do so.
Yeah, Coach Payton was right. They didn't have a lot of film to go off of. It was funny because my freshman year at Bloomsburg, my offensive coordinator, his son was a scout for the Eagles. So I saw a lot of scouts come in checking out our senior guys because they just came off a national championship, our running back and a few other guys. So all those scouts that I saw, they were like, we'll see you in 4 years. We'll see you in 5 years. So 5 years came around, and the scout who was with the Eagles was now with the Saints. He just got released by the Eagles. So, he was able to get my film in the right hands of the coaches and Mickey and those guys, and they saw it. And ironically, when I was released and a free agent, I ran into I was a coach at San Fran at the time when I went to go visit them. And he told me when he was with the Giants that his scouting department never even showed him my film. And I was like, how could that be? I was one of 7 Division II guys at the combine. Like, how could they not send you my film? And it's just, it was just crazy to hear that. But it does happen, and luckily, New Orleans saw my value and they picked me, third out of their draft picks and picked, Reggie and Roman before me and I made a career out of it.
I'm just wondering what you were thinking. Those of us from here, we had just endured, one of the greatest natural disasters and tragedies that you can possibly imagine with Hurricane Katrina and the unbelievable torment and damage it did to our community, the lives it took and the jobs it took and the people that erased from this community. The Saints, of course, were displaced. They went 3-13. They had to hire a new coach and Sean Payton, and you see yourself get drafted by the Saints. Did you think about any of that and wonder, man, what's it going to be like when I get there, considering what's happened?
Yeah, most definitely. Knowing what the community just had went through and driving down there and seeing it firsthand, and then going to training camp, it was the thing that we, as players, all we wanted to do was get back into the Superdome. We didn't know when we were going to be able to go back, and they were keeping us, up on time frame and all that. That's why we actually stayed extra 2 weeks in Jackson. But once we got back there, and Coach Payton, he's always been a good motivator, showed us some videos of what happened in the city and stuff. We knew we had an opportunity to bring a lot of joy to a lot of people, and we were able to do that our first year. And then 4 years later, we were able to, win the big one.
2006 draft was, of course, unbelievably memorable. Now we'll have 4 guys from that one draft in the Saints Hall of Fame. And I know that Marcus was one of those, and he was a 7th rounder. And I know Marcus very well. And among the million things I've done, I did play-by-play for the Saints in the preseason, and I did play-by-play for the Arena Football, New Orleans Voodoo, and made the trip up to Wells Fargo every year. And Marcus, of course, was part of that franchise, and so were you as well. Yeah. And so I was up there. I'd call Marcus, and of course, usually the soul would beat us regardless, but we'd make the trip up there. And so to be in at the same time and to be in the Hall of Fame with Colston, first of all, who's one of the classest acts you'll ever meet, has got to be special. And then Roman, one of your contemporaries from that draft, as well as Reggie, also in this. So it's a pretty special draft class, isn't it?
Yeah, it's amazing. I actually played with Marcus' younger brother at Bloomsburg, and he was a lineman too. He's a younger guy than me. So when we got drafted to the Saints together, it was very ironic that we would wind up on the same team, and then we start learning more about each other and being from the same area. And when opportunity came about for me to get in the Soul, it was because of him, and it was awesome, But yeah, it's awesome to go in with those guys and Pierre and Lance and all the great guys, and also all the older Saints players that I've met throughout my career too. So it is a great honor, and looking forward to this upcoming season and getting down there, watching the guys play and win games and support them and have a good time with all the guys who aren't playing anymore.
You all changed that culture immediately. It was remarkable, and of course I give Coach Payton and his staff an enormous amount of credit. And the personnel decisions were obviously good. They brought people together quickly. And it was amazing to have success that fast, to be able to go to the NFC Championship game in your rookie season with a team that had gone 3-13 the previous year. That was a pretty steep accomplishment, wasn't it?
It was. And, a lot of guys were kind of, I'll let them say it, but, they felt like they were the guys that we got from other teams that, they were just, the other teams just, abandoned them and let them go. And they really took on that mentality when they came, and we had a lot of good vets. And we all just gelled together, and we had great coaches that, didn't leave anything out. They made sure that they pushed the guys hard. They knew what it took to win. They knew what it took to win, and we did that. And we worked very hard, and it showed. We were half away from going to the Super Bowl that year. If Devin Hester doesn't spark up that big return, we might have went there. But, we kept building off of that first year, and Coach knew exactly what we needed to bring onto the team to get over that hump. And we just kept building the offense, and all of us kept getting better together.
Yeah, 2 average, I'd call average years in 07 and 08, and then, of course, the 09 season arrives, and everything falls into place. Offense was really the best it had ever been. The defense was a turnover machine that year, just remarkable in that regard. and the kicking game was good, and no one will ever forget. Morstead's still punting, for crying out loud, and Hartley is out there knocking one right down the middle against the Vikings and knocking through 3 of them from 40 yards plus in the Super Bowl. This was a complete team. This team had everything. It played like it. It was 13-0, and it played like it in the postseason. That was just a remarkable team and a memory of a lifetime, wasn't it?
It was. The leg was, he was great from the start, and Garrett had a big leg as well. And we've always in New Orleans put emphasis on special teams because it's a part of the game. I remember my rookie year, I sat in every special teams meeting as a rookie. It was mandatory. So I was in those conversations when they put in the play for Gleason to block that punt and things like that. So we always knew that special teams would give us 20 plays a game possibly, and we didn't coach it differently. And we relied on those guys to get their job done, and those guys knew how valuable they were. So, like you said, it took all 3 phases of the game, everybody from the starters to the practice guys, and that's why the Super Bowl is so special.
What was that feeling like when the final seconds ticked off, and even when Tracy's running down the field with that 74-yard pick for a touchdown? What was, just try to describe what that feeling was like in your mind?
It was awesome because, we were down 10 early, and we just never stopped fighting. We just knew we had to keep getting at it, and to see the defense come out there and do what they did best that whole season, get the ball and take the ball away. It just shows you how much, we believed in each other, how much time we put in off the field as far as film studying, recognizing things, and Tracy and those guys were dead on. And it was a great play by him, being the hometown Louisiana guy, and it was just awesome. And the party began after that.
It sure did. Jahri Evans with us and talking about his Saints Hall of Fame induction. I still maintain to this day, and of course everyone is entitled to an opinion, or at least they should be. In these days, it almost seems like you can't have an opinion without somebody getting mad at you. But my opinion was that the 2011 team was, in my mind, was the most talented team that you all had, even more so than the Super Bowl team. That was just a dastardly ending. I mean, to win 13 games, can't even get a home field advantage, and to overcome the 2 interceptions in the first half, Pierre getting knocked out in the first quarter, coming back twice to take the lead in the fourth quarter at Candlestick, and still can't win the game.
Yeah.
I'm 100% sure you guys would have beaten the Giants. I'm 100% sure you would have won the Super Bowl. That one still has to hurt.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it does, but it shows you the beauty of our game. We don't play a game that has series and you're able to make adjustments after the game is over. We're a one and done league, and it shows you that we only get one opportunity at that thing. And you're right. We beat the Giants early that season. I think we put up like 50 points on those guys, and it was funny because I was at Dr. Andrews after that season in Pensacola down there at the old API, which is now Exos. And I saw Cup, the defensive end that year, and I was like, "Boy, y'all lucked up because y'all did not want to see us." And he was like, "I know, we did not want to see you." But that just shows you that a lot of guys around the league knew, what time it was that year. We had a good team, but we didn't make the plays that we needed to win, and it didn't come down to one play. We just didn't handle business like we needed to. I think we lost Pierre early in that game on our first drive, and we put forth the effort, but it was a great team, and that was one we probably left out there.
No doubt, and there's the highs and the lows of every aspect of life, and that's certainly the case in football. So then from that in 2011 comes the nightmare of 2012. First, of course, the allegations. Secondly, your running mate Carl leaves via free agency, and then of course the whole what became referred to as Bountygate strikes and the most unprecedented penalties in the history of the NFL, much of which were overdone in my estimation, and Paul Tagliabue basically said that later. I mean, it was catastrophic to have to go through that and to see where you went from a team that was an annual contender to win it all to being a team that was in disarray because of what happened from the league.
Yeah, as players, we all knew and felt like we were being punished for, something that was kind of a little blow out proportion, especially the Bountygate thing. You talk about a team who was the least penalized team that year, but you know, we all know about that. But it was a shame, and we lost two great coaches, our head guy, Coach Payton, and then our assistant coach, Joe Vitt, for 6 weeks. So, but I think the coaching staff and everybody stepped up in a big way, and they stepped up and showed that you know, we stuck together as a team, and we were able to go out there and have a competitive season, even though, you know, you felt like we were there we had the guys there in the previous year to get it done. But you know, things like that happen, adversity like that happen. But I think, you know, we're better for it. We know our story, and it's something that we just can't get back. And you think about, I think about those 11 years in New Orleans and all the great games we've had and all the records we put up. You know, you feel like you should have more than one Super Bowl, but, you know, it's hard to be greedy. So there's a lot of great players out there that don't have any. So, you know, we just celebrate the great times and the great moments we have, you know, the M&Ms, you know, moments of memories. And yeah, we just know that was something we went through that no other ball club had gone through. So
the highs and the lows indeed. And I mentioned best guard tandem in the league. There's no doubt that yourself and Carl Nicks were the best guard tandem in the league, I think, from 08 through 11, 09 through 11. Certainly, Nicks was a mauler. He was another guy with a chip on his shoulder. He was a fifth-round pick who had something to prove. And you were the ultimate technician, could do it all with really good feet, could block, pass protect extremely well, and block the run extremely well. To have that kind of tandem, and you had Jonathan in between you, who's a great guy, that was a really good group. And those tackles were pretty good too.
Yeah, it was, man. I hope we could have stayed together for for a longer period of time. I mean, you know, Carl was a complete package. He was bigger than me. He was stronger than me. He was still as athletic as I was, and able to do a lot of great things. And you know, it's upsetting that we couldn't keep him longer, him and Goody, because us three inside, you know, we were very solid. We were very solid, and we made sure that, you know, Drew had the space he needed to operate. And but, you know, that's the nature of the business. And that's the side of it that the players try not to really think about too much. We just want to go out there and perform, but it's part of the game.
About 2 more minutes with Jahri Evans. And, of course, you mentioned Drew Brees clearly going as what, you know, he's going to the Pro Football Hall of Fame when he's done, as I think Jahri Evans will be too, in my opinion, based upon what you accomplished on the field. I thoroughly believe that. Along with William Rofe, you're easily the 2 best offensive linemen in the history of this franchise, which is saying a lot. And, by the way, being mentioned in the same breath with Willie Rofe is pretty tall timber. That guy was awfully good.
Yeah, with Willie, man, watching film on him, and he had some of the best feet out there at left tackle. But when he was with New Orleans and at Kansas City, and you know, their production showed. So definitely an honor to be, you know, be in the same breath as that guy as well.
I know you enjoyed working with Brees and protecting him and watching him perform his magic. And, of course, he had a controversy recently, and I think he's gotten past that. And I won't speak for you because you speak for yourself, and you speak very intelligently. My guess is that you would have accepted that and moved on because you liked the guy and you knew who the guy was for quite some time. Would that be the correct assertion?
Yeah, you're right. And you know, I woke up late to whatever happened. I have a 2-month-old, so I took an early nap that day and woke up around 4 or 5 o'clock and saw all the hoopla going on social media and in the news. And I had a conversation with Drew early that next morning, very early. Just told him how I felt. And, you know, he made a mistake, and that's the first thing he said. And listen, we all know the kind of character that Drew is. When I say we, you know, the guys that have been in the locker room, so that was never a question with us. And I just encouraged the guys just to reach out to him and talk to him. And, you know, but it was just a little disheartening just to see how people reacted so instantly to the comment, especially guys in the NFL and stuff like that. But you know, good to come from it. And Drew's a great man, and he's done so much in many communities, and he's going to continue to do those things. And that's something I told him is, you know, you've done so much, you're going to continue to do the same stuff as you've been doing. So, you know, just don't let one moment, you know, get you down and get you upset. We're not perfect, and yeah, we'll just have to move on.
I got news for you, buddy. If I get convicted of of all my sins and anything I've done wrong, I'd have been gone 40 years ago. I would never have a shot.
Right.
So,
Exactly.
so I think you judge the character of the individual, not a statement that may have offended somebody, because clearly he wasn't trying to offend anyone. He was just expressing an opinion. But again, I think it's been educational because he came to understand why it might have bothered other people. And that's the biggest thing. And I think I'll leave you with that, with our society today. It's not a matter of hate. Anybody that hates I don't care who you are, that's wrong, and you're in the wrong place, and you're on the wrong side of history in any respect. It's all about education and understanding who we are and why we feel the way we feel and what we think and why we think it. And then even if you don't agree with somebody, respect them for who they are and what their opinions are, even if you don't agree with them. Can we get to that place? I surely think I can. I don't understand why we can't.
No, you're exactly right, and that's why it's important to have, the dialogue and the conversation and stuff like that. And those conversations happen in the locker room with the players. So, and those guys have had those conversations and will continue to have those conversations. But, like I said, everybody's not going to be able to talk to Drew or to talk to somebody that may have said something that got into the media and kind of went away that it hit people the way that they didn't want it to hit them when they read it or heard it. But yeah, I think, we're just in some tough times, a lot of tension in there and everything that's going on. It was just bad timing. But, like I told you, everything will be fine. It's just, we never in our lifetime think that we'll see people in New Orleans saying F Drew Brees and all this other stuff. But some people may forgive him and some people may not. But he's still going to be the great man that he's been and a high character guy and continue to do the great things that him and his family has done over the years.
Just as Jahri Evans is a terrific guy, a class act with dignity, and a terrific player who's getting his just due and going into the Saints Hall of Fame, but a really good person as well that everyone will deeply appreciate. And listen, Jahri, we really appreciate you joining us, and we also look forward to having you here later this year, and it's going to be terrific. Couldn't be happier for you. Congratulations. Enjoy your family, and hopefully we'll all be able to travel safe and watch football games sometime in the near future, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, hopefully it's coming. But thanks for having me, and who dat, baby?
Yeah, who dat indeed. God bless you, Jahri. Thank you.
Peace.
Appreciate it. Jahri Evans, Saints Hall of Famer to be.